Hello and welcome to the UK Director Business Podcast. This show was born out of our drive to help and support you in running your businesses that little bit better. My name is Sue Wilcock and I'm founder and managing editor of UK Director magazines. And today we are joined by award-winning coach, speaker and new head of operations at Finova Money, Anna Butcher.
I had no professional boundaries when I worked in hospitality, so I kind of felt that to be seen and valued, you had to say yes to everything. But eventually one day literally just collapsed at work with just extreme burnout, was taken to hospital and was off work for about a year before I was well enough to even start thinking about returning. My body just completely shut down. The business itself, it went through such a steep journey. So we had 12 or 13 members, went down to 14 members, did a complete cultural overhaul. What I love about the thinking environment in terms of in the business and with clients is you get to hear from the quietest person in the room, and that's quite often the person that I want to hear from most.
Yeah.
And I've always believed that happy people do really bloody good work. So the happier your people are, the happier a client's going to be. A good leader takes more than their share of the blame and less than their share of the credit.
There is so much to take from the episode. Anna talks candidly about being a young MD in financial services despite not being qualified in the field, how she believes that creating the best environment and culture for a team yields the best results, and how she's grown a reputation for leading teams that deliver results. Today's episode is brought to you in association with Affinia, the accountancy and tax advisory firm helping businesses and individuals make better financial decisions with confidence. This episode is a little different, as I was unable to host due to losing my voice, but my co-host, Rob Thacker, CEO of Sona Insurance, did a brilliant job at the helm. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation with Anna.
Hi, welcome to the UK Director Business Podcast. I'm Rob Thacker from Sona Insurance, and I'm joined by the amazing Anna Butcher, who's here as our guest today. Anna, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself as an intro?
Not really, but okay.
Please.
So I'm the ex-managing director of a small financial planning business, currently on a month of garden leave, so that's very pleasant. Worked in financial services for 12 years. Prior to that, worked in hospitality, and kind of, I guess you'd say, a bit of a professional rebel in the industry, in that I am completely unqualified when it comes to financial services in every way. I've kind of focused my growth in other ways for running the business and everything. So I'm quite a bit of an unusual character, really, to probably be running financial planning firms.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, but but we can talk about that, can't we? I mean, obvious questions. So why financial services after hospitality?
So it's a bit of a sad sob story, really.
Okay.
In that I had no professional boundaries when I worked in hospitality.
Okay.
So I kind of felt that to be seen and valued, you had to say yes to everything.
Oh.
Which eventually kind of led from me making my way from waitress to supervisor, then to assistant general manager, and then a brand ambassador,
Right.
which meant that I was responsible for opening new sites, which was a lot of work.
Yeah.
I was working between 70 to 90-hour weeks.
Okay.
Just saying yes. I was young, felt that was what was needed. Didn't really have anybody there to kind of mentor me and say, slow down, girl, like it's not gonna.
Do you get any training for that? I mean, you quickly go through these promotion steps, and does anyone say, oh, and to be a manager, these things are important?
Yeah, the training in hospitality is actually excellent from my experience. But I think that I just had a natural way with people that meant I was progressing quite quickly. Also, having been trained in musical theatre and doing things like that, my memory was really good. So in terms of memorising the menus and ingredients and everything, I was able to then kind of find ways that I can help other people learn those things when we were training. But eventually one day literally just collapsed at work.
Right.
Yeah, with just extreme burnout, was taken to hospital. And was off work for about a year before I was well enough to even start thinking about returning. My body just completely shut down.
How does that manifest? You know, I do speak to people who do hit the burnout curve, and I'm always kind of, I don't know, it just knowing it's happening to you. What's the feeling that hits first, or it's just
I didn't know. I just
physical?
collapsed. Yeah, I think I
Okay.
was just so focused on achieving
Right.
and doing well that I didn't notice if there was anything. I wasn't attuned to my body in the way that I would
Okay.
now be.
Yeah.
I was also young, so I just thought I can go on forever.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, most youngsters are going out, coming home at 3 a.m, then going back to work at 7, 8 a.m. You know, that's what people do. So it kind of
Hopefully
just felt...
the ones who work for me don't.
Yeah,
Anyway.
no, well, they probably...
But they do, obviously. But just don't tell me.
So I think that there was just an ignorance that I had around health and well-being, and I just kind of took it all for granted, and then just collapsed. I started to feel mildly unwell, and then one day just completely collapsed.
Wow.
And just couldn't get myself to stand back up. I even got to the point where my hands were clenched for about 3 months. Like my whole joints and everything were just completely just riddled with fatigue.
So hospital?
Yeah, I was in hospital for about a month.
Yeah, okay.
And then spent a really long time afterwards, and they just couldn't quite figure out what was wrong. Like they knew it was fatigue, but it was like, was there something more at play? And then eventually just started to gradually get well. Okay. I found kite surfing, which is a really weird segue, but basically I'd read a lot about adrenaline being nature's best painkiller.
Okay.
So I thought, the medication I was on was making me feel a bit groggy. If I came off of it and started doing things that were going to kind of get that adrenaline going, was that going to help me feel better? Which it did.
Yeah.
So slowly I started to kind of reintegrate. I mean, I was only 21 when that happened.
Okay.
So I was very, very young.
Yeah, that is, okay.
Yeah, so then had that process of kind of trying to get myself better. And then my dad is the founder of the firm that I've just been working for 12 years, and they were desperately needing some help with just some admin support, only once or twice a week. So they said to me, would you be open to coming in and doing that? So I said, yeah, let's give it a go. Yeah. And I just absolutely fell in love with it.
Good.
Just completely fell in love with the business, with the industry, with the opportunity that was there to do things differently as well. So I think that's kind of my story, really.
How do you think? I mean, I am fascinated by the musical theatre background. I worked with someone who had a similar background in insurance, and it played so well because they were very confident. And I don't know whether that's necessarily a presentational thing rather than actually feeling confident, so you can tell me that. But just the ability to communicate really clearly. That's such a skill that we don't... Sort of musical theatre teaches you those things that you don't actually get from other courses, degrees, etc., etc. So,
yeah, I think the biggest thing in musical theatre training that people probably don't realise is that you get trained to be a business person.
Right.
Because you're your own representative. You have to go to work when you are in the classes, the different types of people that you have to work with, the directors, the feedback. It's actually one of the harshest industries. So they do a lot to help you protect yourself from that kind of environment, so that they always say if something's meant for you, it will find its way to you, and not every no is a no against you. It's just a no for right now in that role or whatever. So there's a lot of protection training, but then also they teach you a lot about how to conduct yourself well and to communicate better and to take direction on the spot as well, that can sometimes be a little bit harsh. So I think it really helps you to understand how to interact with people and how not to as well. So I had a lot of it. So I didn't pursue musical theatre because I personally felt that my mental health would not have been able to stand up to the environment. And I learned through my training a lot of the ways that I didn't want to be around people. Okay. So I think that, it definitely helps, and it helps me now when I'm doing keynoting and presentations and speaking. It definitely gives me a much more natural ability to step into those opportunities, I think, because it doesn't feel as scary. Because even when I'm speaking or doing something like this, although I'm being authentic, it's authentic as the business version of myself, not really truly who I am. So there is still kind of a layer of performance to the role.
That in itself is quite healthy, isn't it? To be able to take the separation that and a business person and a home person and a different role person is defined. Yeah. And people don't ever step out and kind of do that, do they?
Yeah, I mean, business can feel incredibly personal if you don't put in that layer of saying, okay, well, it's okay if someone doesn't agree with me or we're not getting on, and that's actually a reflection of our relationship. From a business point of view, it isn't personal. I think it's a huge thing. It's massively helped me over the years of my setbacks.
I mean, so to declare an interest, I guess we've known each other for a while. I remember coming to your office, and I thought this was just amazing, and I didn't tell you this actually, so it's a confessional, but you were talking to a guy in the office and just being very open about the things they're good at. But everyone was kind of like, everyone knows that guy's good at that, and then he's not good at this bit, but he's good at that bit. And it was kind of like it felt really kind of buoyant office because the honesty, just a pure level of honesty, so that's a remarkable skill. Maybe more of this should be taught. you know?
Yeah, I think
Do you
so.
think that?
Yeah, I think so. And one of the things that I started last year was going into sixth form colleges, year 12 to 13s, and helping them to be more employable by helping them build the skills that they need to sit in the discomfort of a workplace.
Yeah.
Because a lot of youngsters really struggle to sit in discomfort.
Yeah.
I believe we're fed constantly, particularly through social media, that you shouldn't have to tolerate anything that we don't like or that we're not comfortable with. So you end up not building the skills to tolerate something that is maybe uncomfortable, having that conversation where you maybe, this is my understanding of what we'd agreed, this is what's happened, I'm not kind of happy with how that's the outcome of that, so what do we do going forward from here? A lot of youngsters just feel like, I'm not happy, I'm not getting paid when I get paid, so I'm going to move on. So I think, some of the skills are really needed.
Yeah.
But for me, it's been important to help the younger generation bring that forward into the business, because there is an element of some people, it'd be hard to teach those skills once they've already been in the workplace for a significant amount of time.
Particularly what you were saying, they teach you to handle knocks, because in the acting game, I mean, I imagine it's 1,000 no's to one yes.
Yeah.
That is extraordinary, isn't it? You don't get that really in business. You kind of, you get turned, but the proportions aren't the same. So that's just your inner resilience needs to be strong.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the honesty is much easier in business. So you don't really, like in, past worlds, both with musical theatre and hospitality, you don't really get feedback that's helpful.
No.
Whereas in business, I think I've always tried to value feedback as a gift. And you can kindly deliver feedback, even if it isn't very nice. There's ways to do it. Like, I don't believe in the shit sandwich. Like, you don't need to, package it up in a way. Sometimes it is just ripping the Band-Aid off. But if you've built an environment where the team trusts you and that there's honesty and safety and psychological safety, more importantly, you're able to be much more open with the feedback that you're giving, and then it's able to be received in a way that feels less like an attack and more like this is what's going on, how can we support you to improve that? So I think honesty is so important, and that has to be weaved into every element of your business. And the team have to know that you are authentically an honest person in order for that to work. I think one of my favourite quotes is like, a good leader takes more than their share of the blame and less than their share of the credit. And I think if you can build a team of people that know that that's what you're going to be like, they feel much more comfortable stepping into spaces and being honest themselves as well. So the honesty piece is really important for me.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And you've recently won an award. Is this true?
2.
Only 2. Just 2 awards.
Yes, 2.
Yeah. So what have you won? What's been?
So I won Essex Business Leader of the Year earlier this year, which was pretty incredible.
That's awesome.
And then an industry specific award, which was Entrepreneur of the Year.
Wow, that is very cool.
Yeah.
So you got the awards, and now you're leaving.
Have left. Yeah.
Yeah. Are in the garden leave zone.
Yep.
What are you doing with your time?
Oh, I'm never going to be as fit in my life again as this, like this month. So I have, so obviously when somebody goes on maternity leave, they do keep in touch days. So I'd already established for myself what that looked like for me in terms of how did I want to keep in touch, because a month off is, particularly for someone like me, that work is such a passion for me, that then just removing it for a month would have been really difficult. So I think that in the lead up to this time and space that I've been given, been able to experience maybe what a lot of business owners would experience when they're looking at potentially exiting, in terms of the emotional journey that I've been through of letting go of something, because leaving a business where you're the managing director and where you've been there for 12 years and you feel that you've been kind of really vital in all of the changes, it really begins to feel like yours. Without all the risk, obviously. So I obviously understand that it wasn't my business, but it did really feel like it was my baby, and I loved it and cared for it so much. So,
but you still you have an interest, because your father was the founder. So
the emotional investment was there from day dot, and then that just grew, and then I just loved the team, and I just loved building the business into what it was, and helping people see that financial services, like most businesses, are actually service businesses. They're not, they're human breathing organisms, and and the organisation needs that life in it. So I've looked at kind of preparing my garden leave to still be doing, once a week, I'm at least doing a touch point with somebody in the industry that's going to help me in my next step in my career. So, for instance, I know that the back office system, the new business are using, I've never been exposed to. So I've made sure that I've got somebody in my network that can speak to me and show me all of that.
Right.
So I'm a bit more prepared when I go in. Doing things like this is obviously really helpful for me to just keep in touch as well. So it's a bit of a balance. I'm trying to find a balance between, the routine that I want to take with me into my next role.
Yep.
And how I also want to make sure that I'm still fulfilling my need of having that purpose. And for me, work is a huge part of my purpose.
So you're allowed to tell us where you're going yet?
Not yet. No, they haven't released the information yet,
All
so
right,
I can't.
We can't.
But it's a startup financial services firm. They're about 2.5 years, 3 years old.
Okay.
It's very, very exciting opportunity. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Oh, well, you'll just fly. I
Thank
think
you.
it's going to be fantastic. And one of the things I do know about you as well is you're a big Time to Think fan.
I am, yeah.
So tell us a bit about that and your perspective.
Yeah, so I've been very fortunate to have an amazing coach for Nancy Klein's work. So there are lots of people that train as like facilitators and coaches. So there is somebody that basically was working in operations in financial services, so very similar role to me, who then explored her work, implemented it completely into their business. Their organisation is incredible. And now she is a Time to Think facilitator coach. And I've been so lucky to work with her and experience an expert in that field.
Yeah.
And it just blew me away. It completely changed the way that I operated as a person, not just in business. We rolled it out into the business that I worked in previously to a point. We've scratched the surface with it. I think quite often a lot of these frameworks and ideals are so incredible, but they're time consuming for everybody to learn and can be quite overwhelming. I'm a qualified coach myself now, and what I recognise is that there's really great insights into a lot of things, and you kind of have to take the bits that are doable for you in the business and relevant, and then make your own path. But the Time to Think and the thinking environment and the way that it helps you to explore as a business is really transformative.
Yeah.
It's probably the strongest change I've seen in the business in how it operated and how safe the individuals felt within it.
And I also really thought it was great the way you sort of were adapting it for the clients. Because financial services, people, need to consider their futures. But the sort of principles around Time to Think mean that you're giving them some tools that you wouldn't get from anywhere else.
Yeah, I think the biggest battle with that was actually trying to get the professional connections that we work with on board with running meetings that way, because quite often when we have solicitors and accountants, they have a lot of information about the client, so we'll ask the client something and then they'll fill in that gap. And there was a big piece that we had to do with kind of presenting to our professionals to say, look, this is how we're choosing to work, and we'd really respect that when you enter our space, this is how we're going to run the meeting.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if we go to your space, we will run the meeting how you feel comfortable to do so. So it's been really excellent with clients. In particular, I built before I left a framework for the meetings. So with the thinking environment, because it's so individual led, it can be difficult to scale that. Or how do you manage that to make sure that everyone's having the same opportunity for the same experience? So we've got some like basic questions that we might use to lead, which is where it's slightly different from the traditional thinking environment, because the thinking environment has very set question pathways that you can ask. Whereas what we did is we wanted to embody the principles of being a thinking environment. So arriving with ease, no distractions, and truly listening. So maybe doing 5% of the talking in a meeting. And then we use my coaching experience to then build questions that would allow the clients to think more deeply. So we were giving them the prompts, but then also the space to be able to openly explore that together. And it's really great. I did it with the team. We always had a landing question if we were going to do any kind of like work together, whether it was an appraisal or a project. We just made sure that we landed together in the room and respected the space. And the biggest thing about the thinking environment for us, which I think is really incredible, is the appreciation that you share afterwards. And somebody doesn't have to know that they're being thinking environmented, but you share the appreciation afterwards, and that is really a beautiful thing to see. It completely changed internally in the business when we ran our quarterly like team vision check-ins of how the business plan was going, and we'd do a roundup at the end of like what have you appreciated most about the meeting, or who do you appreciate most. It's so beautiful to watch people so openly and generously give appreciation because that's what we do rather than, feeling that
it feels out of place. It feels, so
and it's genuine. And you, what I love about the thinking environment in terms of in the business and with clients is you get to hear from the quietest person in the room. And that's quite often the person that I want to hear from most.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And it gives that environment and that expectation that's going to happen. So it's really incredible.
Yeah. Oh, it's just superb. So you're going to bring it into the new place?
I believe that I embody so many of the components of the thinking environment naturally in myself because it was so transformative for me to experience it. I remember the first bunch of training that I did, which was 2 days straight. After the second day, I went for dinner, and it was quite a large family dinner. And I remember sitting there feeling so overwhelmed because I could hear that nobody was listening to each other.
Yeah.
And I became so acutely aware of the lack of listening.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to make sure that I'm present and able to, be there for people. And my husband and I in particular have used it at times. We've had really quite difficult conflict. And he's so incredibly open because I said to him, look, this is something that I did at work. This really worked. And I wonder if it would work at home. So I think that I'm naturally that way inclined anyway. But I'm also very much like, this new business is a new business and a new start for me. I've got no intention of building that business again.
No.
I want to build this business for what it can be based on its values and what it needs. So I think there will be elements of it coming through. I know the founders, who also the financial planners, quite well now and can see that they naturally probably embody some of those things themselves as well. So it'd just be fine tuning. But it's something that I feel like I will always strive to be. But it isn't necessarily going to be received well in every business.
No, sure. Yeah, and that actually comes to that point, the fact you have adapted across industries. So you've gone hospitality, you've gone into financial services, which is a hell of a, bridge. And that kind of, do you need to be a financial planner to work in financial services, which of course you have proven.
Yeah.
Do you, in the results for the business, can you kind of just go like, it's a straight line? The improvement came when we started adopting these things, or hopefully an exponential curve, but
Yeah, so there were metrics in place that helped us measure client satisfaction and things like that. And we're so heavily regulated by the FCA, as you know. So they release certain, requirements of us to check in with the client about the value that they're perceiving that we add and things like that. So we naturally did that anyway, but we were required to do it. So a lot of the feedback that we were getting from clients when these changes were being made does help us kind of get that validation. This is the right thing to do. In terms of the business itself, it went through such a steep journey. So we had, I think it was about 12 or 13 members, went down to 14 members, did a complete cultural overhaul, rebuild, and the business that it is today is just a completely different business to what it was back then. And it was really difficult and really challenging. But the business is now, I've stepped away from that business. We did bring people into leadership roles because they needed to fill those gaps that I was leaving. But the business had been self-sustaining in terms of servicing our clients for a good amount of time because everybody was so bought into the vision, what we believed in, the values. So it's absolutely transformed the culture. And I've always believed that happy people do really bloody good work. So the happier your people are, the happier your clients are going to be. So in terms of when we're looking at increasing the success of the business, it can be really easy from a financial planner point of view. So financial planning business owners, I believe, are some of the most difficult business owners to work with because they're so bogged down on the financial metrics of everything. And most staff don't have the proficiency in finance to actually understand what's going on a business level. So it's really difficult because they're very focused on that. And I sat there, which would have been maybe like 8 years ago, saying to them, I actually think we should stop focusing on the client output and we should start focusing on the team, like input and output, and build an amazing proposition for the team to say, this is how we're going to support you as a whole individual person, built an incredible culture, benefits that goes over like 3 pages. It's incredible. And just really, and I did so much research into it as well, just even things like our sickness rates plummeted when we started to invest in our people in a different way, because happy people have better immune systems. So it was really different for them, for me to sit there and say, like, I hear you want to grow the business, but I think the way we need to do that is to let the people drive it by recruiting in the right way. So we're very slow to hire, very fast to fire.
Yep.
Or had been. That was what we needed to do. So quite heavily criticised actually by recruiters that it took so long to find somebody.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's funny how they push that, don't they? And it's only because they want their money.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But I was very fortunate to find a recruiter that worked on like a retainer basis. So they, it's in their interest to get the post filled as quickly as possible. Right. But equally, you get a month retainer for 12-month retainer for a reason. So yeah, we completely pushed the business in a way that was really alien to the business owners at the time, because they believed that you improve the financial planning with the clients and that improves the business. But that was ignoring everything that was going on within the business. So I feel like a lot of business owners become accidental business owners in that they've wanted more time, flexibility or freedom. But actually, most of the time, they're really bloody brilliant at what the service is that the business provides, not so much the running of the business itself. So I think that, this girl coming in, daughter of one of the business owners, so there's a little bit of a like, let's be careful here because we actually don't know what this is going to look like, covered in tattoos, spouting hippy dippy, let's do this, let's do that. And it was very alien to them. And I was very fortunate that, I was able to back up some of the things I was saying with science and research, but I was equally able to say to them, let's just give it a go because what we're doing isn't working. Yeah. So, I think that there's been huge strides in the business's success and its relationship with the clients. Even down to like the core team ended up being the key contact for the client, which is really unusual in financial services. Yeah,
because it's always the planner at the top, isn't it? That gets the calls and
but
all
ultimately
that.
they don't know the systems. Nope. They don't know the processes so well.
Not got
they
the
misquote.
records.
They misquote timescales, and you're like, oh, that actually can't be done in that time. So it became, are these clients of yours or are they clients of the business? And if they're clients of the business, then they need to have a business relationship. So there was a lot that I came in and challenged. Which I still do now. I work with businesses, I consult, I coach, and a lot of the problems that we deal with is that the focus is always in the wrong area, and the business owners are looking to run everything and control everything, and actually they're probably really terrible at being bosses, and they're probably not very tolerant as people either. And I mean, I could probably chat for 5 hours at all the bad things that have happened with people in my experience through hospitality and financial services, and I still bang the people drum of like, you prioritize your people.
I'm with you.
And
do you follow Traction as well?
Yes,
BTO and all that.
I've read it. That's what we do. We kind of moved a little bit away from it. So again, we took the bits that really worked and then kind of built our own version of that. So we ended up developing something called a BHAG, which is a big, hairy, audacious goal. Good, so we did all of that, but we just presented it completely different to the team so that they weren't required to know Traction to understand what was going on. So although behind the scenes...
What BHAG did you have?
It was a non-financial BHAG. So I took the management team and the business owners through a bit of a journey of why financial metrics don't actually work. There's a few reasons for a business goal, for a business plan. Usually it's because it's seen as an output for the directors alone. Most staff, like I said earlier, aren't proficient enough in business finance to really understand what's happening, and it makes people panic when the figures aren't being hit. So I basically taught them through defining Switzerland. So I said to them, if we told everybody in the team to go to Europe tomorrow, everyone would end up in a different place. But if I've told you all to go to Switzerland, everyone would kind of end up in the right place. They might go in different paths because they've got different roles to get there, but everyone kind of knows where we're going. So we went through a process of how do we define something that's clear, does produce the financial needs that the business owners have, but that also can be communicated to anybody. So we ended up with a BHAG of to elevate the lives of 300 people and be the financial planners of choice for business owners in Essex by 2035.
Nice. That's nice.
Everywhere in the office. We've got a huge chalkboard that one of the girls found, and we've got it all painted on there. There's a counter, like a social, like the social media counters you see with the numbers. There's one of those in the office that we can track it. And we built the business around that being the goal. We have it so that every life we elevate, so every time someone becomes a retained client, £100 goes into the kitty for the team so that we can, as a group, decide what that gets spent on. So that's how we built what that looked like.
Yeah.
I'm also aggressively against bonuses, which is also very unusual in financial services. So that's why we decided to do the kitty, so that it's a group achievement, not one person got a big bonus, because it gives the idea of like a hierarchy to the roles as well. So that's kind of the process that we went through, and the team are so bought into that. So we then presented to the team. Everybody that gets onboarded, it's part of the onboarding book. It's literally everywhere. It's just reinforced constantly. Everyone knows what it is. We then, as part of that, set 1, 3, 5 and 5 year goals.
Right. Okay.
Because anything in between that, you're not really going to be able to tell, and things are going to flex. And I kind of said, like, if we don't hit year 1, that's fine. But if you're not on track to hit year 3, then you might start to panic. So it kind of allowed us to do all of that. So behind the scenes is all the traction OKRs and all the things that feed through. But even all of the team, all of their OKRs are non-financial.
Right.
So I made it very clear that we weren't going to focus at all on the money, but we knew that 300 was determined by the business owners of what they financially needed from that business.
Yes. Okay.
Based on the fees that we charged, everything like that.
Okay.
So
that's brilliant. That's just brilliant. It's so clear. And I also loved all the benefits you had for the staff, because you used to do this thing where you would buy them like something to do that you thought they would enjoy.
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in memory dividends being one of the best things that we can build. So financial wealth is great, but gifting people experiences and time together is really important. So we had, rather than like bonus schemes, we had something that I referred to as like a reward and recognition allowance. It was a set amount of money per employee per year that you could use to help celebrate things like anniversaries and getting engaged or buying a home. And everybody had a work anniversary, and that's when we would gift them something to do. So I would make it my responsibility to know my team deeply. So that when those times came, I could give them experiences that I knew that they genuinely would really want. So we had one employee that was absolutely like adored elephants, and so did his fiance. So we bought them like an elephant feeding private experience.
Wow.
And things like that. So it's really, they're really small gestures that don't actually cost a lot of money, but that really help. And the benefits package just grew. So we did so much, and we gift time back to the to the team. That's the biggest thing for me.
I'm writing down memory dividend.
Yeah, memory dividends. And we do like never work your birthday.
Yep. That's great.
Wellbeing days, so up to 12 wellbeing days a year. So one of the things that I do a lot when I'm looking at a benefits package is how can I give people time back? Because we spend so much time at work. And when I was looking at the wellbeing days in particular, the research that I was finding was that the average person spends between 1 and 4 days a month actively disengaged in their work.
Okay.
Just through life, other things going on. Women, it's almost double, because of the hormone changes that we experience through different phases. So I brought in 12 wellbeing days a year, which when you think about it, that's 1 a month, which is actually the least amount of time if you're thinking 1 to 4 days. But then there's obviously boundaries around it, right? So it's like you can't tag that onto a holiday. You can't take it as a sick day. Like if you're sick, you're sick. So we looked at those things, and we looked at supporting the people in the business, because if you are not pushing for the people in your business to be supported, their well-being to be your priority, you are not going to get where you want to be in the business. So it's always looking about, not just about what can we do to help them or to give them a benefit, but how do they access that benefit better? So things like for parents, we brought in, you can take, you never work their birthday up until they're age 5 or when they go to school. Because I don't believe a parent should have to take a day off to celebrate their child's birthday.
Agree.
So it's little things like that. And it allows you, when you build a package that doesn't actually cost a lot, it allows you to pay well, because I believe you should pay well, pay slightly above the market rate if you can. Don't do bonuses, but do things that support the whole person and the family and who they want to be. And you're going to get a much more engaged employee from it, because bonus schemes, there is so much research that shows you that actually they're demotivating or they become expected. So then they're not actually, if bonuses were going to work and motivate us, we'd all have a lot more money by now.
Bonuses are great until you can't pay them.
Exactly.
And then you're completely disillusioned, and that really was counterproductive, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I have unfortunately seen companies within financial services make people redundant because they had contractual bonuses that they couldn't meet when the cost of living went up. So it's just something that I've kind of, like I said, quite aggressively have always said, like, I don't believe in it. I've never taken a bonus myself. Like, I don't want that. So yeah, there's so many different weird approaches to how I've been in financial services. But I think it works. It works I think if you focus your business on people because you need them.
Do you think they're going to keep it up now you've gone?
I believe so. I believe that the people that have been promoted internally are passionate about what was built and what they came into. And I think they're really keen to ensure that everybody's experience in the business stays the same. We recruit mostly on values. Our recruiter's excellent. Well, their recruiter's excellent. Everyone that sits in front of you can do the job.
Yeah.
It's then at that point a kind of like a personality and gut check with those people. So I think that it's important to the people that remain that the culture stays.
Yeah.
So I think that they will do everything they can to continue it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's good.
Now seems a good time to take a break and talk to you about our main sponsor, Affinia. Affinia are an accountancy and tax advisory firm helping businesses and individuals make better financial decisions with confidence. With local offices in Suffolk and Essex, the firm has seen incredible growth over recent months and now has offices throughout the East, London and South East. As an owner-managed entrepreneurial business themselves, they understand that every business is unique with its challenges and opportunities. That is why its team of expert accountants and business advisors take a tailored approach to supporting your business, providing advice based on their extensive industry knowledge and experience. From everyday accounting to long-term strategic planning, their team is dedicated to understanding your goals and supporting you with proactive advice that truly adds value. Discover how Affinia can support you and your business at affinia.co.uk.
So we had a bit of a discussion about business owners are great people, but make terrible bosses. Now, I've kind of get your perspective, but just fill us in on a bit more around that.
So my experience, I've worked with a lot of business owners, including the one in my previous role. Incredibly kind, incredibly generous, wanting to do the right thing all the time, but not having the actual skills to know how operations work, to know how people work. Business owners tend to, in my experience, lack boundaries. So because there's perhaps not policies in place, because those things are difficult to put together, they don't necessarily have the HR training to do it, to know what that looks like. So what I see a lot is the team get away with doing something for X amount of time, and then one day, no, that's it, not doing that anymore, don't like it. And there's no understanding of when did that change, when was that not okay, because it has been okay for so long. So that's where I see business owners really struggle as bosses, in that they are naturally kind, you know, they want to do the right thing by their people, but they don't always have the skills or the tolerance to be able to do that all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're so bogged down in the running of the business that they forget why they started it in the first place.
I think it's spot on, because the business owner that starts from scratch, you know, they know the clients, they know the products, they know what they're selling, they're professional, and they need to build a team. It slowly evolves, but there are points in that journey, aren't there, where you need to step back. You need to be able to look at the business and stop being the account exec, stop being the person on the phone that's phoned by every client when something goes wrong. And I think it's a very tough thing. And I've met, actually, funnily enough, I think Sue was telling me an example of a chap who actually just liked driving the forklift truck. He didn't really want to be the boss, so he got other people in to do that. I massively respect that. I think it takes a very, very brave business owner to say, you know what, I'm not the right person to run this anymore. Because I think the chap from EasyJet did that, didn't he? I think at a certain point he said, I can't run this, I'm an entrepreneur. And what I need is an institution. And an institution shouldn't be run by entrepreneurs. They need to go off and do other things.
Yeah.
And I think you're nailing it.
Yeah, I think business owners as well as entrepreneurs, their spirit is so strong and they're unemployable.
Yeah.
So then existing in the business in a capacity where that's why they kind of get stuck in this push and pull with their leaders, because they're like, they're unemployable. They don't want to be held accountable in the way that the teams are. But the leader's saying, well, or the ops person or whoever is saying, well, you know, you need to be held to the same standards as everybody else. Actually, I need you out of the way because you're causing me more problems. So you end up in this weird push-pull. I think that so many business owners, in my experience, have so many ideas and they always distract from the goal of the business that you're in.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time I've spent in businesses in my own and when I've consulted in trying to rein that spirit in and being like, this is great, but where does it fit into the goal that we've got for this year, for the goal we've then got for 5 years, for 10 years. So the business owner is naturally having that entrepreneurial drive constantly. And that actually becomes really detrimental to the business once you've got people working in it, because they don't want the instability or the inconsistency. The mini meeting, we've all been there, right, where the business owner pulls you in, just wants to talk for 5 minutes, and then you're 20 minutes into a deep dive. There's no notes, no one really knows what's going on, and then nothing happens. So then a team member 6 months later goes, what happened to that thing that we were going to do? And you're like, I have no idea about what that thing was, because no one's told me. So I think that the best thing that business owners can do is find the person that they can trust. And often they're already in your business. When it comes to ops people, there is normally a fixer in your business already that is spotting things or is doing things, because I don't believe that ops people are made. I think they're born. I think we're naturally, you know, my background before being the MD was ops. I think that is such a skill set in itself that we naturally have. Like, I color coded everything when I was a kid. Like, I was so organized. Like, I think that we are natural fixers. We spot things. We can juggle a lot of things. We can put our head into different tasks at once. And that isn't often something that a business owner can do. So I think sometimes the best thing they can do is just employ a really good person that they trust and then kind of get out of their way. But finding a way that works as well. So a lot of things that we did when we implemented things was, we're going to do it for 3 months. So they always knew that there was an option to go back to how it was. It never happened. In everything we ever tried to implement, we never went back on what had been set out. But it gives that freedom, you know. So an ops person also knows how to manage upwards and to, you know, pacify or reassure the business owner as they need it in the way that they need it. So it's a very unique role. It might be an ops manager, it might be office manager, like, there's so many different weird and wonderful names for it, but you need that person that takes away from you the bits that you actually haven't done the training to do, that you probably don't have the passion for, to then go and learn to do it.
So one of the criteria is to be color coding things when you're a kid. I'm going to take that away.
Well,
that'd be a question at interview now, I think, for me.
So it is something that I've asked people. So I quite often do the final stage interview for people that are looking for practice managers within financial services, just because of the experience I've got. And I do ask questions about how they were as a child and things like that. It's really important.
You know, that's who they are.
That's who they were when no one had taught them to be embarrassed about who they are. Right. So it's when they're at the purest, and that is when you know what they really loved. And
that's fantastic. So we briefly spoke about the kind of breakdown. Is that the right word? Meltdown? What do we use for the time you came out of hospitality? Because you'd run out of steam.
Just burnout, I guess.
Burnout. What do you do now to make sure it doesn't recur? Is there a routine part of your day that you kind of...
So obviously within the business is that I work in, I make employee wellbeing an important factor. But for me personally, I don't believe in work-life balance. I don't think it's an achievable concept. I don't think that it's possible to get a balance. There's sometimes where your work demands more, and there's sometimes where your life demands more. And you have to just kind of be able to put the energy. So for me, the balance is, am I able to put the energy where it needs to be at that time? So I don't really strive for anything to be a perfect balance. I just try and make sure that I'm feeling well. I have much better boundaries now into what I can physically do. It's much easier in an office desk environment than it is in hospitality. I don't know how well I would be able to step back into that kind of environment again. I don't know the expectations they put on it now, but I think that it always comes down to when they say things like happy mum, happy baby, and put on your oxygen mask first. There's so much that can be done to protect your inner space, that I think that it's really important to build a routine or to have like fundamentals, like non-negotiables that work for you. So like what works for one person won't work for everybody. I personally do things like I'm incredibly routined with how I work out and when I work out and what I put into my body. So I pretty much eat the same breakfast, lunch and dinner every day.
Okay.
To remove the decision fatigue of what am I going to cook.
Right.
I know exactly what's going in. My food bill stays the same because we're not buying different things. I find that really useful. So how I
Do
fuel
you
my
change
body.
it every day, or is it
No,
the
no.
same? It literally breakfast, lunch, dinner, the same.
Is the same meal every day. Yeah.
What is it? Tell me.
So it'll be like oats with peanut butter or whatever in the
Okay.
morning, with a bit of protein powder, some kind of chicken wrap or protein fed lunch. And then again, it would just be vegetables, sweet potato, salmon or chicken for dinner.
Okay.
With kind of like just bits, I'm a big snacker. So like some space for snacks in between.
Okay.
But for me, I just try and remove areas where I don't need to be thinking about it.
Yeah, sure. And then, so morning, evening fitness of some sort? Gym?
Yeah, so I can't do early mornings at all. I'm
Okay.
just not functional. Like I need to have like 6 coffees before I'm personable with anybody.
Okay.
So I normally walk my dog every day.
Right.
And then the gym will be in the evenings, some kind of movement. So
And you finish sort of 5:30, so gym then?
So
or?
I actually work in blocks.
Okay.
I find that works better for me.
Okay.
I have ADHD.
Right.
So I find I get really time blind if I'm not careful. So I actually set timers when I'm at work.
Right.
So I would normally get up in the morning, do a block of work.
Okay.
I might go to the gym mid-morning,
Right.
then do another block of work, then walk the dog, then do another block of work.
Oh, I like it.
So I don't work in the traditional kind of sense because it just doesn't work for me, especially where in the roles that I've been in, I've been required to be creative.
Yeah.
And creativity does not strike between the hours of 9 to 5 all the time. Sometimes it strikes at 10 p.m, you know. So I think all ideas, even as a business owner, you're constantly, you know, you have these ideas coming up. So creating space where that can happen, where you're taking care of yourself outside of that is really important. But I've seen so many business owners or people in high level roles feel like they've just got to white knuckle it and they're like, oh, it will calm down eventually. And I think I read something that really put it in perspective for me that said, if you died tomorrow, your job will be listed in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So eat the cake, you know, take the time, go on holiday. And one of the things that I've seen a lot from a financial planning point of view of business owners is that they started a business to be free, flexible, have more time, make a bit more money, and they don't see their families. They're not going on regular holidays. So I think that coming back to the why you started the business and why do I do what I do? What am I passionate? I'm passionate about creating spaces for people and holding space for people. And I can't do that if I'm not well.
No, absolutely.
So I think that routine is incredibly important. There's so many incredible.
How long are your blocks? How long are you kind of?
2 to 3 hours.
Okay. Right.
So I probably actually end up working more.
Probably, but you know.
But I also really enjoy the work that I do.
Do you break down the blocks or do you just do a task?
It depends. So in the roles that I'm in, no 2 days are really the same, or a project might need something. But I check my emails twice a day.
That's
it.
refreshing because
I close them down, but I communicate that they'll be closed down.
Yeah.
Replying to an email in 3.2 seconds every time you get one does not make you more efficient.
No.
It's so distracting. So I think that burnout is something, like circling back to your question, is something that I think is like a lot of business owners will have experienced at some point, especially in the early days if they haven't got a team, so there isn't somebody to take that from them. But it is sometimes just having the foresight to go, okay, how I'm doing this isn't working. So where might I be able to move differently in the day that allows me to have some time to do the things that are going to keep me well?
Yeah.
I think that's the more important question because it's so individualized as well.
How did you find this? Did you kind of, I mean, I think you're quite a creative person. I mean, so we've met before. You are a creative person. So did you kind of go, right, okay, I'm going to do my day in a way that actually makes more sense, and then just switch that on? Or did you experiment with it?
Yeah, I mean, I advocate heavily with the teams that I work in that they should be taking active breaks, but I don't think that a 15-minute break from the screen or making a cup of tea is truly a break. I think COVID was a huge factor in understanding there was different ways to work.
Yeah.
My husband also at the time worked nights.
Right.
So there was a natural break that he would get up and be making loads of noise and getting ready for his day, which was fine, but it would disturb what I needed for work and everything. So I would kind of maybe take some time off, go and walk the dog and stuff. So yeah, I think it's something that I've just played around with hugely. And I advocate as well for, like, if you're working from home, most people want to do that because they want to have a little bit more flex in their day. So putting in core hours, so you only need to be available from 10 till 3, which allows people to flex either side of that. But I think that I really know myself in a different way now to the girl that was running around for 70 hours in a week. I can feel when the tensions start to rise in my body, which means that I'm feeling stressed. I can feel if I'm feeling under the weather. So
Yeah.
I think you with age, you kind of start to understand, oh, that hasn't worked before. I'm noticing something's going on. So yeah, I think
I'm institutionalized. You know what I mean? I just been working these hours that I do for so long. I don't know how to break the cycle almost.
Yeah, but I think there's also, like, I'm not neurotypical in having the ADHD. So I think my brain naturally maybe thinks about things in a different way. Because if I said to somebody else, you need to work in blocks, they'd feel so stressed.
Yeah.
That would be really, really stressful for them. So I think that we need to allow people, whether it's a business owner or team, to have a little bit more of a say in how business works for them.
Yeah.
Of course, there needs to be a boundary around, if you are a business where your clients need you between certain hours, then you need to do that. But I think that we're moving into a way where there's a lot more expectation on the staff.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
On candidates to say, I want more flexibility. And I think the best thing that business owners can do is start to experience that for themselves, feel the benefit of it, and then it helps them be a little bit more on board with the way the world is moving.
Are you kind of, I mean, I actually think a lot of this AI is making life a lot easier for people in any job. Obviously data is, key and all of that, not, sharing too much with GPT. But actually there are tasks that used to take me days that now take me a couple of hours tops. And it's amazing. And it kind of almost using the technology as like a, PA or an assistant in doing your job. That does create, the opportunity to work very differently, I think. The pressure I used to feel about having to deliver stuff, knowing now that I can turn it around quicker, is a massive weight lifted.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I don't know about insurance, but in financial planning, there's report writing software now that you dump all of your meeting notes and all your client history into it, and it can produce a report that's 80% of the way there in 5 minutes.
I know.
So you're always going to need a human in the loop. I say this a lot because I get asked a lot about AI when I'm doing panels and stuff. I've got a bit of AI fatigue because I'm just a bit like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But you do need a human in the loop. It is going to create so many jobs because there's going to be jobs like input agents, like specialists in knowing exactly how to get what's needed out of the AI.
Yeah.
But it's hugely, hugely adaptable. It helps you massively. And, it's going to become a complete essential of the way people are working. Yeah. So the quicker you can get comfortable with it, the better it's going to be for you.
And the easier your life's going to be. So, you can manage your time a lot better.
Yeah.
Because you're not having to sit there staring at the screen thinking, how the hell am I going to get this done?
Yeah. But equally, I say to people all the time, if you're not ready to use AI, then don't. Like, your business isn't going to implode because you haven't implemented AI. There will come a point, maybe in 5 years, where it'll be difficult to run a business without using AI.
Yeah.
But at the moment, just dip your toe in. I mean, there's apps that you can dump all your tasks in, and it tells you what the most efficient way to do to do those tasks in, right? So that's really easy.
I do think the conversation about AI has changed so much in 12 months. I mean, I was at a conference yesterday and they had a panel talking about AI. And I was a bit like, yeah, well, that's what we're just doing. we're super sensitive about data, but we are using it in creative ways, asking it questions. We've learned so much. I had a colleague, he's doing an MBA, and he said, I just read some research about non-exec directors. They're not any good. They don't add enough value. I'm like, okay, is that true? So I went off to ChatGPT and I put in, tell me about non-exec directors. How effective are they? I get a load of blurb from the Non-Exec Director Association or something like that, telling me how extraordinarily great they are. And then I said, show me the academic research that backs up that NEDs are good. And it's kind of like, it's a mixed bag. Because actually, the data isn't particularly strong for the right situation, and the right NED absolutely works. For many others, ticking a box having an NED doesn't work. So it's really, your ability to inquire is really important. And as actually they were saying on the panel, AI is kind of like a sandwich. The first layer is your question. The middle bit is the AI, and the third thing is you actually checking it's coming out with stuff, or having the common sense to work out if it's the truth or not, because there's a lot of misdirection, isn't there? But I love it. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because actually, the more senior you get, the bigger questions you get asked. The more important things need to be dealt with.
Yeah.
So,
but it just comes back to why, doesn't it? It's always like, why does that AI fix that solution for you? There's always got to be a reason for it. Like, do you need an ed? Well, why do you think you need one? And then go from there. Like, AI can't tell you that it does. You do or don't need one, right?
No,
your business more than anything.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we're a long way off from AI being able to kind of massively take over.
It can't replace
jobs, and
you still want to speak to people.
Especially if you recognise that any business you're in where you're delivering a service, you're actually a service industry. Yeah. And the AI can't do that part.
No, definitely not. Well, I'd just like to offer a massive thanks to Anna for her time this afternoon. And it's been just amazing to catch up and hear your story and your way. I mean, I think there's so many takeaways from this discussion. And I hope you enjoy watching and listening. And tune in for the next podcast when it's available. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the UK Director Business Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, then visit our website, ukdirectormagazines.co.uk, where you can listen to more episodes as well as download our library of magazines, Suffolk Director, Norfolk Director and Essex Director. Don't forget to join our UK Director Business Club, where you can enjoy a whole host of benefits, including exclusive content such as unedited podcasts, free tickets to our events, and so much more. See you next time. Goodbye.